Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. For you guys that don't know me, my name is Rosie, and I'm the calligrapher behind Wandercrafter. I'm also the creator and the coach of the Craft Academy. Ever since I started my business in 2017, I've made countless mistakes and wasted lots and lots of time and money. And after working with some of my dream brands like Dior, NBC, and Ferrari, I'm on a mission to help calligraphy entrepreneurs and even artists in general work with their dream brands and accelerate their path to success. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on any of these fun and educational videos. So today I have an amazing treat for you. I'm sitting down with Isabella, and she is the artist behind Isabella MG Co. She's a colorful soul who has created her stationery and greeting card business by mixing her Latin culture with florals, hand paintings, and a very beautiful, playful color palette. Using the powers of social media, she's actually been able to get her greeting cards sold wholesale as well as direct to consumer. It's in multiple stores across the US, and she's been doing super well with the direct to consumer route. So I'm excited because physical products is a perfect way to generate consistent income and build a business that lasts well beyond your lifetime. And Isabella's experience is going to help so many people reach their goals as well. So without further ado, I present to you Isabella.
Hi, that was so good.
I rehearsed a little bit.
I'm impressed for sure.
Thank you. All right. So Isabella, I'm so excited to have you on our channel. I know we've known each other for a couple of years now from teaching calligraphy in the past. Our viewers are going to find that Isabella started off as a calligrapher and has quickly transitioned. So we'll definitely talk about that story. But Isabella, do you want to give us your quick and dirty journey from calligraphy to owning a full-on product-based business?
Hi, I'm Isabella. I have a product-based business. I primarily create stationery items, so think greeting cards, notepads, all things paper goods, and I sell direct to consumer and to the wholesale market as well. So I started with calligraphy. I was actually planning my wedding at the time, so to be honest, I didn't really have like a game plan set. I just thought, well, I'm doing my own calligraphy, so let me help other couples with their like calligraphy and signage needs. That was in 2019. 2020 hit and I had to pivot. So my calligraphy journey was short, but I loved it, and now I'm doing products full time.
What was like the main thing that drove you to kind of put calligraphy on the back burner and then actually start committing full time towards products?
Well, in 2020, during the pandemic, as we know, like a lot of the weddings and events that were going on were canceled. And so just as a way to pivot and like generate income during the time, I decided to do these like I was individually hand painting cards for like people to send to their loved ones. Mm-hmm. And then I quickly realized, I was like, wait, I can like have these printed and I wouldn't have to spend all the time like painting them myself. So it just kind of naturally happened. And then it just snowballed into what it is today.
Mm-hmm. I know. I love that. I love that it was kind of an accident for you. It wasn't super intentional.
Definitely did not start off wanting to be a product-based business. I always kind of envisioned myself in the service-based industry, but I also did learn early on that like with weddings, I loved working with all the couples that I worked with, but there's like creative limitations. So like when it came to the products, I was able to kind of just create what I wanted and like what I was vibing with at the time. So I definitely like that more in the product space.
Yeah, and for anyone who hasn't seen Isabella's creations yet, definitely check out her Instagram and her TikTok because it's awesome. She really leans into like the Latin side of her heritage and puts that all into the products that she produces. And I think that's one of the things that's the secret to her success. I can't imagine too many brides wanting that kind of like Latin flavor in their weddings.
No, a lot of the things that I was working on back then, they were like muted color palettes and like neutrals, which I love, but like personally, I just am attracted to more like vibrant colors. So
yeah, exactly. And honestly, like one of the things that really attracts me to your creations is how colorful, how vibrant, and how fun it is. So can you tell us, when you started getting into like the physical product-based business and creating cards, was it always like that? Or did you feel like there was a pivotal moment in developing your products where you're like, okay, I'm going to actually lean into my heritage and I'm not going to start, making basic birthday cards or anything like that?
So in terms of like the colors, I did start off with like muted tones, which, like I said, I wasn't in love with, but I thought that's what people wanted. So I actually didn't really connect with the products I was putting out at the beginning, but then I started, and I can't pinpoint like an exact moment, but I started to just incorporate more color slowly. And I noticed that with the more colorful, more true to me designs, I don't know, people resonated with it more. And I think it's because I connected with them more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. So one of the things that I love to preach on the channel and in my coaching program is being authentic to you, being authentic to your products, not creating things because you think other people are going to enjoy it, but create it because you love it and other people are going to love it too that are kind of have that similar style.
Yeah, no, I attest to that for sure.
I love it. Perfect. So when you first came out with your physical products, it was kind of muted, a little, I would say the word bland, and it just didn't really resonate with you. And then you started creating more colorful products and people started to resonate towards that more. Did you kind of look at the numbers to gauge that, or how did you figure out that people were starting to like that?
I mean, just there was more consistent sales. And I think just like me talking about them, like I was more excited about the colorful designs than I was like the neutral ones. I think just in like translation, it was apparent. But then yeah, over time, like that's with the consistent sales, like I was like, okay, this is working.
Yeah, I love it. What was the product that put you on the map? Like which one was the one that like made you super popular?
I don't even know if I'm on the map yet.
You're on the map, Isabella.
So greeting cards have always been my most popular items. They're the ones that sell continuously. Specifically, my Spanish cards they had their moment on TikTok for sure.
Yeah, I remember that. So you were like one of the first people in my social network that went viral on TikTok. And so like as soon as you did it, I was like, oh, it is possible for like real people to go viral on TikTok. So let me try this out. So I kind of like watched how you were doing it and then kind of combined my own little, personality and stuff into it too. And then ended up going viral a couple of times. But just to like see you do it gave me that motivation. I'm super excited for your success. And ever since that one video has gone viral, like you've been in multiple stores across the US. I even saw your cards in Wyoming, which was super exciting.
I remember that. That was exciting.
Yeah, it's so cool to like see friends' products in real life, like away from your house and stuff. So it's just super cool. Away from the internet, So personally, for me, I've tried physical products in the past and I didn't really enjoy it. I think just because of my personality and limited space. So I'm excited to chat with someone who's done super well in the past couple of years. And as we are recording this, Isabella is in her brand new studio. She just moved into a whole new office. She's like a big girl now. How does that feel for you?
It is a little bit weird right now. It's definitely going to be an adjustment period for sure, just because like I've been working from home for the past 4 years. And so I'm just going to have to establish some sort of like routine in the mornings, putting on actual clothes and like leaving my house. But no, I'm super grateful and proud. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of an adjustment. And I need to get some like artwork up on these walls.
Oh, totally. It's going to be super cute. You can blow up like a giant margarita that you've painted.
That'd be amazing.
Amazing. So what's like your big picture plan for your studio right now? Is it just going to be like the home base or is it going to be a storefront?
So it's not going to be a storefront. That's something like maybe down the line I don't know. That's still like a vision board maybe. Before I was working out of the spare bedroom of my house. It was like about 100 square feet. So it was really small. And it got to the point where I started to like feel the constraints of how small it was, especially like you said, being a product-based business, you need space. I literally ran out of the space. So
yeah, and you were sharing an office with your husband, so.
For a little bit. I mean, he was going to work, but he actually just got a new job, so he's going to be working from home full time. And so that's another reason that I kind of like got kicked out. But yeah, needed more space, and I knew in order for the business to keep growing, I needed to take this next step. And it was actually a really scary step for me, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, of course.
So, but yeah, no, so I'd like to obviously expand the product line more now that I'm in this space, and start maybe like hiring a team. Not maybe, start hiring a team to help me out here.
I love that. Manifestation. We're going to do this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's super exciting for you. I cannot wait to see where that goes for you. I know this is just the beginning, and signing a lease is scary AF. Even for just, renting out an apartment where you're going to live and you're going to be there every night. But like with the business, it's a whole new ball game, a whole new, cost that we have to incur. So I'm really excited for you, and I'm rooting for you. So
thank you. So kind.
Let's kind of go to the beginnings of Isabella MG Co. And we won't go too far in the beginning, but let's go to like 2020, 2021 era where you were just starting to pivot into the physical product space. What methods did you do, especially in the very beginning, to like get your name out there and get your products out there?
Okay, so I've always had my Etsy shop. That's just kind of been going on in the background with like the built-in audience. I don't ever see myself getting rid of my Etsy shop because of that built-in audience factor. Then I was doing some pop-up markets in like 2020. I think I actually started in 2022. I think I did like maybe 2 in 2021. But yeah, just in-person pop-up markets was a good way to get my name out there.
That's great. How did doing these pop-up markets help you bring your business onto people's radars and onto the market itself?
Well, I think it just kind of like solidifies like, hey, I'm an actual brand, like these are my products, and just like connecting with customers like on a face-to-face setting is just like super, I don't know, there isn't a word to explain it, but it's, you get like direct feedback, you connect with the people like with your products, and I just think it's a great way to connect with like the local community.
Yeah, 100%. Do you have any tips for people who are just starting out and like want to host their first pop-up?
I would say tips, not to be afraid of the investment. So some of these like markets require a booth fee. And from what I've seen, a lot of people are kind of like scared of like paying that fee in like fear of like not being able to make the money back. But I always say like investments, you'll make it back either if like in sales earned, obviously, or like lessons learned. So don't stand in like your own way sort of thing. Yeah, just go for it, have fun.
I love that. When you did your first market, was it automatically a hit or was it a flop and you had to like take lessons learned from it?
So I wouldn't consider it my first market a flop. I actually think I maybe made like $100, and like the booth fee I think was like $400. So it wasn't anything like crazy in profits that first one, but I did learn a lot. I learned one, how to like communicate with an in-person like transaction, you know what I mean? Like, because being a product-based business, I usually do everything online. So that alone I think was super valuable, but I wouldn't consider it a flop, but it wasn't like great profitable.
Yeah. It wasn't great, but you definitely used some of those lessons onto the next one.
Okay, yeah, and each one you like pick something up, like you can always do something different or do something better.
When you did your first pop-up, did you have like a full-on booth? Did you have like card displays, anything that you have now? Or was that all things that you learned with every single one?
I had a table, so like a single 6-foot table, and my husband and I built a card display that I've used at every single pop-up since then. But over time, like it's just kind of been filled out more. So I remember I was actually looking at old photos, and like the first one I did, I think I had like maybe 4 notepads and they were all like flat. So a lot of people couldn't see the stuff walking by, if that makes sense. So like that's something I did learn that first one, is to maybe like elevate your stuff. So little things like that. But
yeah, love that. So would you say elevate as in put it on like a 45-degree angle kind of pedestal, or is it just like keep it 90 degrees? Like
both. It just like when you're thinking of like someone from the perspective of someone passing by, you want them to be able to kind of like see what you're about without having to like approach you full on and like look at your stuff, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely propping them up, and then even going like vertical if you can. So like with different like shelves or like little pedestals, things like that.
Okay, cool. I love that. So those are really good tips. So create some kind of display board. And if there's anything that could be flat, just make sure that you elevate it so that people can actually see it when they're walking by.
Yeah. You don't need to go out and like buy new displays or like anything fancy. Just like work with what you have. You know, you can slowly build that up over time for sure.
Yeah. So using the stuff that you already have at home, like a shoebox, and like wrap it in nice paper.
Exactly. Definitely the scrappy route for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. We like to say done and scrappy is better than done and perfect. Because if you wait till perfection, it's never going to happen.
That's what I was looking for, that exact quote.
Love that. Great minds think alike.
Yes.
So let me ask you, when thinking long-term vision in planning these pop-up markets, how do you ensure that like people stay in contact with you via like maybe social media or on your email list?
Yeah, so I actually printed out a QR code with my Instagram and all my socials. Actually, the last one I did a QR code of like my link pop. So it's like Linktree. And so they had like all the links right away instead of just it being one. So definitely I would suggest that. I did have an email sign-up sheet for a couple. I probably should have had them for all of them, but sometimes
you live and you learn.
I know, sometimes time gets away from me, and that's one of those things that like, I don't know. But yeah, both are great options to have. If not one, definitely the other.
Yeah, I do feel like these pop-ups are such a great opportunity to get your products and your face in front of these clients. Yeah. And a lot of the times these clients or potential customers, they could forget about you as soon as they walk away, especially if it's at a pop-up market with a couple other handmade artists out there. Yeah. So you definitely want to like create that bond with them right away so that they feel more connected with you in the future. Yeah. Even if they don't purchase from you on that day, maybe they'll think about you during Christmas or like another holiday. So we definitely want to try to keep these people in our rotation and communicate with them as often as possible so that they don't forget about us.
Yeah, I think even engaging with people like at the market, like that leaves a lasting impression, you know what I mean? Versus like someone who's just like on the phone, like, I don't know, but for sure, engaging with them is a good idea.
Yeah. I always like to say humans buy from humans, and people resonate towards a product because of the story versus, just the art. So it's definitely something to consider when you're doing these pop-up markets.
100% agree.
Thank you for sharing all of your tips. I know people, some people love pop-up markets, some people hate it, but Isabella has actually benefited from it. So it's awesome to hear her perspective. So let's switch gears a little bit, and we can either talk about like the wholesale portion or the social media portion. Which one do you feel like had a bigger impact on your business?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I think they go hand in hand. So
I know I was going to let you choose which one to talk about.
We could do whichever, we can do both. Up to you.
So we just talked about the pop-up market. We can maybe talk about wholesale because that's another way to generate consistent income. Direct to consumer is awesome, but wholesale is what really pays for your rent and for your new studio. So do you remember your first wholesale order?
I do. I actually just shared a reel on it, but it was back in 2020, towards the end of 2020, and I had just been rejected on Faire, which, if you're not familiar with it, it's an online wholesale platform. And I was like kind of butthurt, I'm not gonna lie. But my husband suggested that I reach out to stores directly, like even though I didn't have Faire set up. And so at first I was like, what? I can't do that. Like I can't bother these busy retailers, But I ended up emailing a local flower shop owner here in like San Diego area, and I had a connection, or I had a relationship with her from the wedding industry. So she had just recently opened up a flower shop. I emailed her asking if she was ever interested in having stationery items in her shop, and to my surprise, she said yes, and she placed an order. So I remember delivering it too, like in a box. I was like, in person and I walked up and yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cute. I love that.
The local flower shop.
Yeah. So you put yourself out there, even if you didn't know if she was going to say yes or not. It was kind of just like going out on a limb and let's just see what happens. And I love that you didn't take that rejection from fair personally, and you actually were like, okay, well, I'm just going to do it on my own then, and like prove that it's worth it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't like an immediate thing. I definitely did feel the sting of being rejected from fair, but I don't think I've ever shared this. When I was rejected, they were having like their next winter market. And I remember screenshotting like a promo that said like, I'm on fair. And I screenshot it just to like kind of start thinking of myself as if I was on the platform. So I definitely just like, I told myself you'll get on it eventually, but I don't need this to start. Because like for some reason I like kind of thought I needed it to start, but with like the help of my husband encouraging me, like I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna try. So yeah.
I love that. So one of the other things that I've heard in the past is you can actually sign up for a subscription called Wholesale in a Box. Have you used that before?
I have never heard of that.
Okay. So for people who want to get into wholesale and haven't been approved for yet, Wholesale in a Box is awesome because it essentially matches you up with potential retailers across the nation who might be looking for wholesale opportunities. And you would basically just put in the criteria of like what you're selling, and they like each month, I think they'll give you 10 to 15 emails of these potential retailers all across the US, and you just send them your pitch.
Wow.
And that way, you're not actually like searching for every single retailer because like nobody has time for that. But you actually get these emails that could potentially be your ideal client anyway, and you just like send on your email.
That's amazing. I had no idea that existed.
Yeah, I haven't really talked about it a lot just because I don't do physical products, but for anyone else who wants to, Fair, so FAIRE.com is a great way to put your products on there. It's kind of like Etsy for wholesale and for retailers. And then there's wholesaleinAbox.com. So definitely check those out if you're interested in doing that. I also wanted to ask you about quality control because, you know, as calligraphers, as artists, like we love a good DIY. We love printing, you know, cards from home on our like home printer. How did you develop those products from home? Did you go directly to like a printer for that to like ensure you had quality, or did you kind of ghetto do it at home at first?
Well, like I said, I first started with like individually hand painting each card. So I like bought these blank watercolor stock cards, and I was hand painting those. I realized really early on that I did not want to be doing that. I didn't want to have like the production in-house. So I found a printer that allowed for like small order minimums to start. So at the beginning I was printing like cards 1 or 10 at a time. So it wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't a high investment, but yeah, I didn't want to do it at home. So I think pretty immediately, my first 3 like official cards, I outsourced it.
That's really smart.
I
definitely have printed in the past.
No, and I have printed one and I couldn't get like the calibration right. I don't know. It was a struggle and I was just like, I am not gonna do this.
Yeah, I'm not cut out for this. Let's leave it to the professionals. That actually means that you are taking control of the quality, right? You make sure that you get with like quality ink, quality paper, and right then and there, you have really good products to begin with. And so that continues to snowball and people will continue to order from you again and things like that. I feel like this question might transition into the next phase of our interview. What was the tipping point for you to start getting continuous wholesale orders?
So I don't know if there's like a specific moment because it's kind of just been like a small buildup of continuous stuff. But I would say having quality products, like you mentioned, personally, I wouldn't put anything out that I wouldn't buy myself on a store, you know what I mean? And then just having things be like shelf ready. So starting to think of your products as if it were on display in a store. So that's important too. And then just one of the big things is like these retailers are, yeah, they're buying from you, but at the end of the day, they're investing in you, in your business, in your products. And so it's important to like, foster that relationship with the buyer and show like gratitude, not even if it's directly, but like just be appreciative of every single order, and like engage with them. At the end of the day, it's more about the relationship than like just the simple transaction. So yeah, definitely engaging with retailers online, on Instagram.
I love that. Yeah, I do see them tagging you in their new displays and stuff. So it's just awesome to see everything come to fruition. Yeah, I was gonna say that these retailers, real estate is important, right? It's so important to have like the proper display, and anything that you put in a retailer, it has to sell, right? If they're dedicating, 4x4 feet of area in their store on you, that means that they're committed to you and they're helping you promote as well. And so that's because they believe in you, they have a good relationship. So that's really important. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of course. I love wholesale.
And then I don't know if we went over what a wholesale is. Do you want to cover that really quick?
Oh, sure. So selling wholesale, you're selling to third-party partners for them to sell your items in their shop. So usually you sell your items at half the price of your retail price, and then they sell it in their stores
for the full retail price. So let's just say, for example, you charge $250 for one of your cards at wholesale. Do you have to, or like for them to sell at $5 per card, do you have a minimum for each order to make sure that it's profitable?
Yes. So I have a minimum order amount. So in order to buy wholesale from me, you have to spend a minimum of $100. I had it at $150, I had it at $125, but I really found that like $100 for me in the paper product world is like a good
like balance.
Yeah, like it's I mean, it's still an investment, obviously, but it's like not as scary as an investment for a retailer. But so they have to spend $100 minimum. That's my opening order minimum too. So my reorder minimum is slightly lower. I think it's at 85. I'm not sure. But then within that, a retailer has to buy a minimum of 6 cards each. So they can't just like buy one. But so there's a minimum order amount, and then there's a minimum order quantity per SKU.
I love that. So we're all about tactical information here. So it's good to like hear the numbers, especially coming from a math and science background. I love hearing these numbers and kind of like gauging where your brain is at. And I love that you also shared that you tried different minimums. 170, like 150 might have been too high. 125 might have been too high as well. So 100 is like kind of the sweet spot. So I think that's really good for people listening going forward. When I did my first wholesale, it was for a cake toppers to a bakery. And I think we didn't have a minimum because I didn't know what the minimum was, what that whole thing even entailed. And I think we sold maybe $50 worth of cake toppers. And I was like, that was so much work for so little pay. So I learned a lot from that first one. So moving forward, I adjusted the pricing and stuff. So it's kind of an experimentation phase, but you've done it so many times. You've done it countless times now. And now you found the sweet spot. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
Let's talk about social media, because social media is fun, but it's also can be very daunting, especially for people who are just starting out and seeing the competition. So again, you were like one of the first people in my social media circle to have gone viral on TikTok, and you really inspired me to try harder and to just be really authentic to like my message. What tips do you have for someone who is just starting their social media page?
Well, we touched on this a little bit at the beginning, just being true to yourself and not trying to be someone you're not. I think when I first started off, I was kind of nervous to put like me out there. So I was definitely a little bit more like bow ties, like, or not. Yeah. I was a little bit more like proper, I guess. Yeah. But now I'm just infusing more of my personality and like just having fun with it. Like I used to look at it more like as like a job. Like I know it's part of the job. At the end of the day, it's marketing, but like I'm just having fun with it.
Yeah. And I think the stories that you tell really resonate with your audience. And I think the way that you mesh your personality with your art is so seamless, because you talk about your heritage all the time. You have your husband narrating your TikTok videos sometimes, and those are just so hilarious. And like, it really just starts to attract the right people, like the ones who are your ideal audience. And I think that's the most important thing to take away from this.
Yeah, and like you said, people buy from people, especially people they like. So if someone vibes with you online, like they're more likely to purchase from you.
Yeah. In your videos, do you put like a call to action at all, or are you kind of just like putting it out there and like people will check on their own?
Some of them, not all of them. So again, I kind of just like fly by the seat of my pants sometimes. So some of them do have like follow along for more type of thing, but then some of them just like, meh.
Yeah, and that's okay. I think having a balance is good. Like, you don't want a call to action on every single one of them. Sometimes the video itself is a call to action. Like when you're packing a wholesale video, then it's like, now people know that you're available for wholesaling.
Right,
so then they like go in and check your website and like think about, okay, I do want to have this person's cards in my store. So I think that's a really genius way for you to do it.
Yeah, so definitely like a mix of both.
How do you stay consistent with like recording your packing videos, doing these voiceovers, and like posting consistently?
I'm laughing because I don't think I'm consistent at all. Because there'll be like some days where I post a lot, and then some days where I'm just like radio silence. But that's another thing. Like, I never want social media to feel like it used to for me, if that makes sense. Like, I was really kind of, I don't know, I got in my head a lot about like posting and sharing things on social media, but now I've just kind of adapted a different perspective of like I said, just having fun with it. So I don't have a schedule, so I don't know if I can answer this, but I'm just gonna say, like, this works for me. I wouldn't suggest this for like everyone. Like, I know some people really like a structured thing, but yeah, just kind of go with the flow.
Yeah, I'm also really bad about being consistent on social media. Like, there are some weeks where I post every single day, and then there are some weeks where I post nothing for 3 weeks. And
yeah, it's hard. I mean, it
is hard.
Yeah, to do something like that every single day is just...
Yeah, what I found helps is batching videos. I don't know if you do this, but just recording all the content you can. And if you don't feel like recording or creating new content, then you just use the stuff that you already have. And then you just create a bunch of like, I don't know, 5 to 10 second videos of you doing something. It could be like a time lapse of you like engraving or painting, and just like have that in your repertoire, in your drafts for like the times that you don't want to post or create new stuff. And you just like go into the drafts and you post it, and then that's it.
Yeah, no, that sounds super helpful.
Yeah, I think some people schedule it too. I think Instagram now has a scheduling option, but I haven't tried it. Yeah, I haven't like played with it, but I did see it in the menu bar the other day. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I've heard batching is great. I haven't tried it myself.
Yeah, and then sometimes you just get like motivated from someone else's post.
Yeah.
Like you hear a sound and you're like, oh, I want to remix that. Let's try it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just have fun with it, I think, is the lesson to take from here. Try the different things, experiment, and try out like, 5 different methods of like different trends, voiceovers, length of videos and stuff, and just experiment with what works with, what's kind of happening out there, and then figure out what worked and what didn't work and kind of refine your process there. What I think really helps to set you apart from the other stationery calligraphers and accounts that I follow on TikTok is that you really lean into your Latin American heritage. Your gorgeous watercolor margaritas combined with like the sentiments in Spanish are just absolutely perfection. Do you feel like most of your audience is now people who also resonate with that?
I would say on TikTok, yes, because of that one video that went viral. So yes.
Yeah. Did you ever feel strange about that? Like, did you feel comfortable posting that from the very beginning, or did you just get more and more comfortable during that process?
So I always knew that I wanted to have Spanish or Spanglish cards in my line, just because growing up, I had a hard time finding Spanish cards for my grandma. So like from the get-go, I knew I wanted to have them. I just didn't realize how big of an impact they would have. And I will say though, like, so I knew I wanted to have it, but I was also kind of like unsure because I did struggle a lot with like growing up in a mixed family. So I wasn't always sure that I wasn't always fully comfortable sharing that side. I just knew I wanted them there. I just wasn't like super boastful about them, or not boastful, that's the wrong word, super loud about them. Yeah, open. I took a marketing course, and the coach really encouraged me to just let people in. And I shared my reasoning behind why I started my Spanish line, but also just like having these like weird identity things going on in the back of my mind. And I just openly shared that in that video, and a lot of people resonated with it. So I'm very glad I did. I am leaning into it a little bit more, but I wouldn't say like that's the only direction. I definitely want like both my American and Latino side.
Yeah, 100%. What I think is super important to take away from that is to be vulnerable.
Hard.
It's really scary. Yeah, social media can be really mean sometimes. Like TikTok in general can be pretty toxic, but can also be really great for when it does work for your business. So it's just, listening to the positive energy that comes from some of those followers, it makes a huge difference. Your vulnerability in that video really created an awesome tribe. And I see that in your comments every so often. So it's great to have.
Took a lot, but I'm grateful I did it.
Okay, so we're kind of winding down for the interview now. We do have a couple last minute questions that I love asking all of the people that come onto the channel. What is your favorite part about owning a stationery business and owning your own business?
Well, I guess that I'm my own boss, but also at the end of the day, that's kind of like being the employee and the boss is kind of hard. But just doing something that I genuinely love to do is the best thing.
Yeah, love it. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've experienced with your business?
I've definitely had to really try to get out of my own way. So continuously do things that make me uncomfortable and just trying not to play small. So just staying out of my own way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, dreaming bigger and staying out of your own way. I love that. Mindset is a huge thing for us. So I'm glad that you kind of notice it too. So what would you tell yourself when you first started knowing what you know now?
Trust the timing of things. Things will happen when they're meant to happen, for sure.
Okay, so in closing, what is next for Isabella MG Co? You've got the new studio, you've got awesome products, you got stuff in wholesale. What's next for the company?
So definitely expanding the product line, participating in a wholesale trade show in April, possibly another one in the summer, but then also just expanding or starting to build a team here in the office.
That's so exciting. So where can people find you? Where can they learn from you, find out where your products are, stuff like that?
So I'm on all the socials, except I think Twitter, but Instagram, TikTok, and then I actually be teaching or hosting a roundtable on wholesale at the Ultimate Product Party in May. It's a product-based business conference. It's so much fun. It'll be in Scottsdale, and definitely check it out.
That's so cool. How exciting. I had no idea that you were going to be teaching that roundtable, so I'm glad I got you first.
Yeah, for sure.
That's amazing. I'm so excited for you, especially with your new studio.
Thank you. I'm excited too.
Well, thank you so much, Isabella, for coming onto the channel today and sharing all of your wholesale and water painting wisdom. I hope that everyone who's listening learned as much as I did from this interview. If you loved the content, definitely hit that subscribe button and comment. Tell us, take a look at Isabella's website and tell us what your favorite watercolor design is, because we'd love to know. I love the margarita one. But I feel like that's the OG.
It is the OG. That's so funny that you know that.
I know, I've been following you for a while.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Isabella. It was such a pleasure having you on here. For everyone else, make sure you comment below what your favorite art piece is so that we can communicate with that. And maybe that'll give Isabella more ideas on different things to do in the future.
Yeah, always taking suggestions.
All right, amazing. Well, thank you so much, Isabella. And for everyone else, don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you later.